Bird.
Here.
Again.
Here.
Stein.
Here.
Mormon.
Here.
Picklat.
Here.
Stecker. Here. Ray.
Here. Okay, number 2, approve the agenda. Any changes, Your Honor?
No changes this evening.
Motion to approve. Second. Call the roll.
Again.
Yes.
Stein.
Yes.
Mormon.
Yes.
Picklat.
Yes.
Stecker. Yes. Ray.
Yes.
Bird.
Yes.
Okay, number 3, presentation of petitions and other communications. A, update on Boone County Chamber of Commerce, Mike Handel.
Hello, good evening, City Council, Mr. Mayor, City Administrator, officials, and everyone who showed up for my presentation tonight. Quite the crowd. Thank you tonight. I really appreciate the opportunity to provide an update to you all about what's been happening here at the Chamber. A lot of exciting things have been happening over the last, for these 8 months or so. I joined the Chamber in March. I guess 9 months, and started in June as the executive director. We do have a couple new staff that I'd like to introduce as well that have joined the team since then as well. We got Laura Beatty, our communications and events director, and Brooke Decker, who's our member services specialist. So we've got a full team rounded out. As you see, there should be a handout in front of you. There's a couple different sheets that hopefully Councilman Norman was kind enough to pass out for me, as well as one of our recent publication that we put out, Loosely Connect. I wanted to provide a little bit of a handout to talk about kind of just what's been going on. As you can see, we've had a very busy 6 months. If you just look there by the numbers, you can see we've had 16 events in 6 months, and so we've hosted a lot of different things going on in the community. Just to really ground all the things that the Chamber does, I want to just remind this group that really what we're set out here to do is to make our community better. We do that by serving our businesses and really trying to promote a positive business community and thriving community. And we're really excited about all the things that have been happening here in the community of Boone. And we're especially thankful for the city's support and collaboration. So as you can see there, we've had a bunch of different events, both, there's been a lot of question as I've come on board is what's the Chamber's sort of focus been for downtown. And as you can see, we've hosted a number of different events to draw foot traffic downtown, provide our businesses the opportunity to get more customers. Also just celebrate all the great things that are happening here. Also make great use of that new green space that this group worked very hard to get there. So we've had a lot of successes to celebrate in terms of events. We're also been active in our community, post COVID. Well, we're still in the thick of it still, but as we've been recovering from that, we've been trying to activate our Chamber community through our ambassador program and reconnecting our business leaders through that program. And so as you can see, we've done 17 business visits as well. We've continued to communicate the great things that are happening, either business opportunities or sales or community events through our communications platforms, and have been active connecting those networks. We've got 10 new members since I've come on board. We've got a number of different new businesses in our downtown district. So while there's been quite a bit of transition here, there's a lot of exciting things that have happened. So we just want to celebrate that. And again, we want to thank you for your ongoing support. I do want to touch on what's coming up. We've been doing a lot of rebranding and trying to present our Chamber as a really professional organization, also as a reflection of the sort of first-class communities that our Chamber represents. And so I provided an example there of our publication. We've been doing a lot of brand alignment across all of our platforms, and the Loosely Connect publication is an example of that. Coming up, we're going to be aligning that branding with our website as well. Are also improving the functionality of that and hopefully integrating some of those things with the city as well. So our website's upcoming. We're also working on a relocation guide. Our big focus right now is really to try to understand the needs of our employers And one of the things that's obviously a big issue is filling jobs. And so we want folks to both fill those jobs, and obviously important to this group, we want folks to relocate here as well. We want them not only to take a job, but also have a home here, have a family here. So we're working on providing a publication and resources for families to come visit, and not just visit, excuse me, but stay. Coming up, we're also going to be doing a job fair, and we're also exploring the Main Street program. So those are kind of the things on the horizon in 2022. Just want to make, again, a special thanks to this group. I've seen a lot of your faces out at our community events. Behind the scenes, of the staff and departments of the city, all the support that comes from putting on these events and making great opportunities, again, for our businesses to do business and our community to just have a great way to celebrate, come together, and live a high quality life here in Boone. So again, thank you, appreciate all of your support, and looking forward to 2022. I do know, as a note, I know you're going into goal setting and planning for 2022. We hope that, well, we ask that you would consider your contribution to us. We know that there's been some rearranging of structure with some of our obligations and responsibilities with the CVB. We do still provide a great service to the community of Boone, and we ask that you consider that when you're doing your budget planning for 2022. So thanks so much, appreciate your time.
Okay, number 4, report of standing committees, policy administration, BJ. No report. Public safety, transportation, Stephen. No report. Utility committee, Stephen.
Yes, we had earlier, November 14th, we had a utility meeting where U.S. Water came and did a presentation to the committee. At that time, the committee decided that we were going to have a public forum, so that could all be opened up for public input. We'd have that on Monday the 29th. At that time, it was the committee's recommendation to bring U.S. Water's proposal to the full council for consideration tonight. So with that little bit of history, I'm going to turn over to Bill for further.
Thank you, sir. So a little bit more information has come in on this subject. You'll note on the desk when you came this evening was an email from Chris McMillan from People Service. He noted in the email that a city representative reached out to him in regards to a proposal to the city. They provided somewhat of a proposal in this email. Sent to, like I said, council and mayor. I reached out to Mr. McMillan and asked him who the city representative was that reached out to him. He would not tell me. So it was a private conversation. I do not know who that is. I can ask elected officials here tonight, did anybody at this table reach out to people?
No.
Thank you. So that is there as well for your evaluation tonight. It's not an official proposal. Generally, we don't receive them by email. It's up to the elected officials whether they choose to consider that proposal as well, or whether they move on with the U.S. Water, or they decide not to do anything at all. I would ask council tonight that a decision be made. As you know, there's a position open at Public Works that we have not filled because we have not got up to this point any direction on the policy that you all are going to decide on as we move forward with the plans. Councilor Ray, that's the update I have. I'll turn it back over to you.
So considering the proposal that People Service did submit informally in email, and this was received today. I briefly had a discussion with them. I think it was either 30th of November when they reached out. After they already had heard we had our public forum, and then this information came out after that when they spoke to this, what they said with certain citizens. So guess what we have here before us tonight is the decision that must be made. Is does this council want to instruct Bill and staff to look into this other alternative? Get a contract price from them for the full services to review both of them and then move forward with one or the other. If that's the choice of the council, I guess that's what we have before us right now. We want to consider the other one, knowing that we're going to make the decision that we're going to pick one of them.
Well, I really don't want staff to spend a whole lot of time and energy and money moving forward on the proposal, negotiating a proposal, if we're not going to move forward with the management of the 2 plants. So it really boils down to 2 motions or a dual motion where we vote yes or no to do the management thing, move forward with that, and then direct staff to negotiate the 2 proposals and bring them back to the utility committee for consideration and then to the full council for a vote. That's my feeling on it. I don't think we want staff to mess with it if we're not going to go forward.
I don't think that's the desire.
That is correct.
Well, it does seem that there are at least 2 companies that want this business. Could we put out a formal RFP or maybe even more proposals to come forward and rate them on a matrix? Have the utility committee look at the pros and cons of each proposal? Rate them,
How many do you want?
however many are going to come to the table and offer. We put out an RFP for this whole thing.
My position, generally speaking, is that the discussions that I've had, the information that I gathered at the meeting that we had last week, I feel that this is moving too fast. I think we've got great employees. I know that at the end of last week, an employee even received his level 4, which he had been working on. I think that we would not be considering everyone if we move forward with entertaining the agreement. But if that were to pass, I would most definitely, the biggest problem I have with this is that we would consider a $1.6 million proposal without offering an RFP and gathering information from anyone else.
Any council comments?
I would just say that concerning RFPs, in the next item of discussion we're gonna have on the ED, RFPs not necessarily will clear up the picture. The RFP process for the rec center was asked for 4, we got 3, 2 were incomplete, and 1 had the information requested. The comments I'm getting in the community are, I don't want this at all, or I'm open to it, but I have further questions. And again, it goes back to Councilmember Mormon's comment and staff's question too, is do we even want to entertain this or not? If we don't want to even entertain this, RFP process is useless because we're not going to consider it as a waste of time and a waste of process.
The problem that I have is that U.S. Water's numbers are exposed. And based on the other proposal that I saw, since it answered every single question that was asked at the prior meeting, community meeting, someone was feeding them information. This is no more than shopping a bid. That's what it boils down to. We start shopping bids and we won't get competitive bids from this point forward. I'm just saying that. Okay, now, if you want to consider these RFPs, that's fine, but you have to give U.S. Water the opportunity to review this bid and counter it, because that's the only fair alternative we have. because they're exposed. Their numbers are exposed. And you can bet that this company based their numbers off of that exposure. That's just my feelings.
I can understand that, and as private business, my concern as elected official is when we requested information from this other company, they refused to give it. We asked.
The one that we have the proposal from now,
No, the other company that sent the email to us, and city administrator Scare specifically asked them for that information, and they denied it to us. And this is another company that's asking us to entrust them with $1 million. Again, I'm gonna ask the question, do you want to move forward with the process or not? That's the first question you gotta ask. Then we can decide if we want to go RFP or not, but we gotta go back to the question, do we want to move forward with this option? Or do we want to maintain the status quo and face the impending employee issue that we all know is coming in a couple of years?
I would motion to table the privatization of this and our two departments, the department heads, everybody knows that this has been explored and it's something that's on the table for the future, and it gives you the time to get your licensure and make a decision that's best for you and the people sitting at this table in a year or two. And go back to our RFP process and it's out and see where we go.
Second.
Call the roll.
Stein,
Yes.
Mormon,
no,
Biglat,
No.
Stecker,
Yes.
Ray,
No.
Bird,
No.
again,
No. That's where we started.
The reason I asked for that first is because the question that none of us are willing to ask is what we're doing in 2 years. In 2 years, we are facing this. People around this table and staff, and I'm facing it as a utility customer. What are we gonna do in 2 years?
I think you've given your the managers the opportunity to get their.
I think you're missing the point of the pending retirements and the fact being that we cannot hire staff right now at the current levels that we need for the plants. How many retirements are we looking at in the next 2 years, Bill? Are all our current people certified?
no. One is
In our last hiring process, how many applicants did we have?
two.
So again, if we don't want to move forward with this process, what are the other options that we can have? And I'll take it from the gallery as well.
Go ahead, Cindy.
It's kind of being rushed through because a lot of the public had no idea of this and haven't been able to read the whole thing. And then the second proposal should be able to read. And how many level 4s do we have now that have passed the test as of today? Whatever, but it passes. Has
Two
anybody
at the water
explored that?
and one at the wastewater.
Pardon?
With the recent passing of the test, I believe it's.
2 at water and 1 at sewer have passed.
Do you want me to answer?
That's what he's
Trying to answer your question.
can you use a microphone?
Oh, I'm sorry, sure. So there are 2 at water right now, because one just passed, and then there's 1 at wastewater.
Right. So you should have more input from city employees that have this chance before you're bringing in another company. That they, what I read in it, they would have people they would have to teach too. I read the whole thing. I didn't have much time to examine it, but I think the citizens of Boone need to know more about this before you bring this whole thing on the city, before they have to rely on this council's vote on who's gonna get it. It should be known to the city, to the citizens of the city, more public announcement than what we just.
I can answer, there's been 2 public meetings. When they first came, I made a presentation in September, when they brought up for a proposal in November. And then the third would be the public meeting that happened on November 29th. And then the proposal has been on the website for over 2 weeks. They actually sent the proposal, so that was November 17th, so.
Up, I get it into a public newspaper, something else where more people, most people don't read what's going on in the city from the website. Most don't even know how to get on it, but you aren't being fair to the citizens of Boone to the people that are working in these departments. You aren't being fair to them, and they need the chance at it first. And if it's postponed, what does that hurt? If you run it through, you hurt the people that are already working there. You don't treat employees like that. And what comes up next? What company is going to come in and say, oh, well, we'd like to run the fire department. Well, we'd like to run the police department. Where does that stop?
I think it stops with common sense.
Okay, that's what we're trying to say here. Have some common sense on this, on the people that are already employed in Boone. Be fair to them.
I don't have anything to respond to.
It can't hurt to postpone this and let the whole thing be explored more.
Okay, thank you. Yes,
I'm just curious, when was the last time that job openings were posted for the water?
Well, the one that we hired would have been a year ago. Because there was an opening, there hasn't been any openings since, sort of been a year ago, when you're talking about this specific position at the water plant.
Carl?
I believe a year ago was for a laborer, correct?
I'm sorry?
Is it for a laborer, not a certified operator position?
No, I think the advertisement for a grade 1.
Well, he still doesn't have a grade 1 to my knowledge.
What's that?
He still doesn't have a grade 1 to my knowledge. My point being, grade 2, 3, or 4 was not advertised 1 year ago. And if we're gonna have a certification issue at either one of the 2 plants the next year or 2, I think it behoove the council to advertise for that position now. That's an overlap.
Arlen, how do we afford that?
Say, well, you can afford to hire a private company or profit to do it.
A company that even the people that oppose this acknowledge is only looking at an immediate increase of $8,000. You're looking at multiple positions of $50,000 to $60,000 a piece. How are we supposed to fund that for a couple of years to have it cross over for the training to transition?
10 or
to
12
it?
years ago, there were 6 employees down there. How does the city Boone afford that?
We didn't afford it. That's why we invested in the software program that we've been putting in there for the past 10 years to offset the reduction in staff. And that's something I think everyone says, well, we used to always be able to do this. Yes, we did, because we had 7 and 8 employees per plant, and we were able to have a couple transition off and then a couple more come on. But as our budget reduction and our budget has gone tighter, we put in software to make it easier to run the plants, correct?
You know, I can understand all that, but I think 3 is rock bottom the number of employees.
Exactly.
And you're gonna have issues with 3 employees at each plant, especially with retirees or people quitting. So at certain times throughout the years, you might have to have 4 at one plant, maybe 3 at one plant. And you should be able to afford that. It's all in the sewer and water rates. Am I correct, or is that out of general fund?
enterprise funds, which is the water and
Okay.
sewer.
Are we having a good positive balance every year on the water and sewer funds?
The amount is, I don't know, I can tell you that, the amount of money we're spending in, maintenance projects and everything out there, because the plants are 23 years old. We just replaced the 2 dehumidifiers for like 240,000. The lime pond removal was well over 300,000. We're having to replace the backwash blower, which is American recovery money, so that's coming from the government. That'll be 150, maybe 160,000. We're doing, we just did the lime silo rehab out there that need to be done. There's a safety project out there that needs to be done as well, for the safety of the employees. So there's a lot of projects at the
Right.
wastewater plant. We have a UV project, which is 1.8 or 9 million by the time it's done.
The city will still be responsible for those expenses no matter what.
Yeah, I was just trying to explain some of the expenditures that you.
No, I
asked about.
understand the expenditures and I knew they were coming. Is the original bond for the new water plant, is that paid off or how soon will that be paid
No,
off?
I think that's paid.
Okay,
If I remember correctly, if I'm talking about there, I think that's good.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Have we, Roy Martin, have we considered going back to a utility superintendent? I mean, now that Josh has his grade 4, so he's ready to step up. At the wastewater plant, we have a grade 3 down there, but we need to push him along a little bit. US Water, I thought they had a great proposal. I went through the whole thing and I thought, okay, I got them here. Well, they know what they're doing. But my problem with them is their operators are not going to be residents of the city of Boone. I didn't hear of any, moving their guys in. Really haven't heard of anything about their guys except their top guys that have no certification. They're all engineers and managers and everything, but we don't see a list of their grade 4s and their grade 3s and what their, of course, it's just a proposal, but I'd like to see what their proposal is on their operators. And I still think if we're going their direction, we should require residency of these people that are going to be operating our water and wastewater plants. Why would we pay people and then have them, their operators in Fort Dodge or wherever they're at? We have no clue. And when I asked that question, he said, well, they'll all be on call. Okay, that's fine, but when you're up in Fort Dodge on call, that means the one local guy that's still down at that plant is going to be the one that's going to get called and have to go there immediately. Then he's going to have to check with whoever's coming down from Fort Dodge or wherever and report in and say, okay, you want to do this or you want to do that? Or what do we want to do? Like I say, their proposal is great and I'm sure they can do the job. But
Are you aware that the city has a residency requirement of 30 miles, so you can live within, from 30 miles away from the city for employees?
and I personally don't think that's right. That should be that way.
Yeah, but there is an ordinance that has a 30-mile.
Right.
radius. Dave Mozina, where's your grade 2 live? Or your grade 3, I'm sorry.
I'm Dave Levine, and I got a grade 4. I also got a bachelor's degree in science. It's not like I'm a dummy. These are professional jobs. You gotta go after these people as professionals. You can't just say, okay, we want a person. No,
Grade, David, where does your grade 2 live?
I'm a grade 4.
I'm asking the grade 3 that works for you at the plant, where does he live?
Oh, he lives in Perry. That's 20 miles away. He's always been pretty good.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
I think we need to look to the future here. That's part of the problem. If these people were easy to find, then our employees would be getting headhunted on a regular basis. If there was overabundance of these type of people that we could hire, then they wouldn't be reaching out to our existing employees and trying to hire them away. So that lends a problem. We all know that right now, everybody's going through a shortage of employees. People don't want to go back to work. So especially in this type of specialized area, if there was an overabundance of these people around where we could recruit them on a minute's notice, people wouldn't be headhunting our existing employees. And I was told that by 2 of the employees that they were being headhunted on a regular basis. So that's alarming to me. So 2 years from now, these gentlemen are ready to retire, and I am not saying at all that they did a bad job. But 2 years from now, they're gonna be ready to retire. What if something happens to one of those 2 guys and we have no plan? What if they're my age? What happens if they have a health issue or something like that and they have to retire right now? What do? We're trying to preemptively strike this. The last election was based on a fresh perspective. This is a fresh perspective to an old problem. And if we can't move forward with this, what chance do we have of moving forward with anything in the future? With anything new and innovative and the way things are going? This isn't special to Boone. This is going on across the country. This is not just Boone or 3 or 4 plants here in Iowa. It's all across the country that people are moving in this direction because they know how hard it is. So, my opinion.
But by accepting this proposal, the employees that we have now are not guaranteed a position.
All they have to do is pass a background check and a drug test. And they'll be offered a position. Am I right?
And there's 1, possibly 2 positions open with the city they can transfer into. If the council so chooses to move that direction.
We're not kicking anyone to the curb. Absolutely not.
Except they lose their IRS.
They'll lose IPERS, but the cost proposals that US Water put forward as a compensation package was comparable, and in some respects, the health insurance was better.
You have a defined benefit retirement plan, there's no substitute for that.
Correct, and so that all the information is out there. 3 of the employees have reached the rule of 88 and are eligible to retire.
Go ahead.
So 3 employees are gonna be forced to retire early. And I know one of them is gonna drastically change their IPERS plan. One of them just got promoted, he's a year in. It was gonna change his retirement drastically. It's not a good way to go. I'm gonna be with the city for another 20 years. I already got my grade 4. We have another operator at water or sewer plant that's gonna get his 4 years soon. He is working on it diligently right now. So, and he has another 15 years to go himself. So I hope you would rely on the city employees you have.
One more just for history. Part of the problem we're having is the salary we pay these grade 4s, 3s and 4s. You can go 10 miles east and make, I'm guessing, $3 an hour more. When we hired our last grade 3 operator to come to the wastewater plant, we had to get special permission from the bargaining unit to start him at the 18-month salary instead of the 6 months. Otherwise, he was going to lose money by coming to the city of Boone from working down at Perry, which was an industrial, the pork plant down there. So we're looking at a lot of different problems than just saying, let's go out and get these out. The bad thing about the grade 3s and the grade 4s, when you take these tests, whether it's water or wastewater, you're being tested on every plant that's in the state of Iowa. So on the water side, you're being tested on nitrate removal. That Des Moines is the only one that removes nitrates. The wastewater side, Des Moines has anaerobic digesters. We have aerobic digesters, but some of these guys at the plants haven't even seen these other systems, and they're being tested on. Now, I'm going to say 8 years ago, we tried to approach DNR. You need to change your testing. Okay, what they do? they dropped the 3 and 4s to, from 75% on the test to 70. Okay, what they really need to do is develop tests for a lime softening plant. That's what the city of Boone has. Okay, take a test. That means you can run the lime softening plant. Doesn't mean you can go and run a nitrate removal plant. Same with wastewater. You have a anaerobic digester operation is much more difficult than aerobic and much more dangerous. But yet, we don't have that. There's a lot going on here.
There is, Roy, but look at it this way. Someone comes in with a test specifically of Boone plant and passes. While they're employed by the city, they then study to get certified in other plants and they'll get hen-hunted anyway.
Oh, yeah, big time. Yep, you're right.
So again, we're still facing the issue of we are being poached by other communities and it's happening everywhere. I mean, we've lost police officers for West Des Moines in the state insurance office. We've lost firefighters. We've lost our city engineer. We've lost the city administrator. I mean, every community is doing this and it's an arms race for funding. And eventually the funding just can't be generated anymore.
Well, we lost our engineer / utility superintendents too.
Laura, you make good points on some of the testing and everything, but until DNR changes that, we're stuck with what we have to do according to the regulations.
Right. It's tough. Yeah.
Well,
So I don't
think the
just say
reason
just
if they
something
do
what you
that,
said.
Roy, is probably because if you're a 4, you can be a 4 anywhere,
Exactly.
right? So if somebody wants to headhunt one of our guys, and it's just a matter of time before they get an offer that they can't refuse.
Excuse me, I keep hearing headhunting, and I've been with the city of Boone for about 25 years and a grade 4 operator. And I've never been headhunted once. I want to be headhunted. I'm not seeing it.
Arlen, you're retired.
You're retired.
No, I'm talking the last 25 years. I haven't been headhunted, and I have a 4-year degree. And
We're
my
talking about,
point is, what you're probably talking about is every city that needs an operator, they'll send out to all the certified operators a standard form letter. And if you're considering that as being headhunted, well, then I've been headhunted for 25 years, and I've always stayed in the city of Boone.
Councilmember Mormon's comments are based from the community forum when this was comments from the employees. That was the term given by the employees themselves of being headhunted.
When was this?
Yes, it was.
When was it? I didn't deny that. When was this?
No, I'm talking to the person.
Oh,
I'd like to know who was headhunted too. I had a grade 4 in water and wastewater.
If you were to post your resume right now, you'd probably get job offers.
Councilman Norman referred to this as being innovative. I'd like you to explain what innovation that US Water brings to this. Are you saying that just it's innovative that we're trying to privatize the water system and then turn it to a management company? Or is there software or something that they're bringing to the plant that is truly innovative in the operations?
yes, they're bringing a new software system. They bring a whole new realm of expertise. This is what they do. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying that our employees aren't doing everything possible, but that doesn't mean that we can't look at it from a different perspective and do things differently that they may not realize can be done. That's what they do. They're efficiency experts.
So how long ago did the city invest in the software that is at the plant now? Is it an outdated system that needs to be replaced?
Josh, do you know how old the system is, the SCADA system is at the water treatment facility?
The SCADA system stayed the same from inception of the plan, and we're just paying the upgrade fees, and the hardware of the computers themselves are outdated where they get upgraded, so everything stays the
So it
same.
has not been replaced since the plant's been open.
but they won't replace the SCADA anyway. I'm talking to me.
Can Josh finish?
Well, it didn't change how the SCADA system functions or take over people. It stayed the same as from when the plant started in 2000.
Original, that's what I'm asking, it's original.
So it's nothing's really changed.
Okay, thanks.
Our facility, they want the WINS program. We bought the WINS program in like 2008. I didn't want it. It wasn't worth it. It's only for big companies, by the way. The WINS program, I read up a little bit about it, is for big companies. They also want the maintenance program. Our plant's not big enough for the maintenance program. We're gonna put sheets out every day. And with 3 guys, you may not have a chance to do this preventive maintenance. Now we got a corporate coming in and saying you're not doing it. I looked at that too. I did not want that. We did not buy that, but we spent an extra $25,000 for something that's the same as Excel spreadsheet, which I did go to school for this particular town to learn how to run computers. You know, so I was educated, I educated myself, and spreadsheets is the same as the WIN program that they want to put in, which is for bigger organizations, by the way, bigger plant, and probably for multiple organizations, which I think is great if you want to make some good money. Why not? But they never had me. Yeah.
Chris, you look like you had a comment. Do you have a comment from what Dave said?
As far as WIMS, I talked to Dave when we were there, we utilize Hawk WIMS just because it's again, a third-party interface where it's just software that's what it's designed for, is to put operation maintenance records in it, whether it be water or wastewater plant, both of them would go in. That's data that everything's keyed in and can be looked at not only by staff here, but by staff outside of here also to log in. Like Aaron can track it or trend it. It just allows you to get a lot of very good trend chart. You have your SCADA that's on site, but the WIMS allows you to see your data a little bit differently. And then the computerized maintenance program, again, that's another third party. We use an outside third party software. And that again is to protect your investment. That's what the maintenance software is there for, to try to extend the life of the facility. Many times, people utilize Excel or whatever, and it does a lot of the same things like we've talked about it or whatever, and it does do a lot of the same things. The thing it does is that the Hawk job cal or maintenance program, whatever it is, it data logs everything. So there's assurances that, again, everything that's been done, so that if there's warranty work, anything that comes up from the manufacturer, it's all logged and can be sent, reports sent there, so where you have that to support where you're at.
Okay, excuse me, for those that don't, I asked Chris, he is from, the representative from US Water, so for those in the audience that did not know that, that's who he is.
Yes, so you're talking about, we're doing, this extra spreadsheet stuff. Arlen's one that set it up down at the waterworks, and it's already set up for monthly and weekly stuff that we have to already do. It's not necessarily a program, but it's spreadsheet out, and it's, everything's logged, we have everything filed. There's a hard copy of everything. So it's something that we're already doing, but it may be in just a different method by not using actually an actual computer program that sets out the like job duties or work orders. So we were constantly printing out sheets every week, every month for quarterly stuff, everything. So it's already being done. So it's not like this is something that we haven't been doing or been forgetting to do or not completing our job or the equipment being maintenance like it's supposed to be.
All right, council.
Bill, going forward, further, to explain to the council, absent anything in that, what is the impact on administration?
Well, first comes to mind is the position that we have open because we didn't know what direction we're going. Second is we have to have some policy decision because I cannot continue to do my job as the administrator and also oversee the plans. It's been 6 months now. So something, whatever council decides, something needs to be decided on, and council needs to set that policy so staff knows the direction to go.
So the motion to move forward, is that based on the proposals? Or do we just want to move forward before we? I don't know, I think we need a motion to move forward, yea or nay, with the management of these plans, followed by a second motion for the staff to pursue the proposal. Is that right?
I think we've already answered the one question too. I think we just need to decide if moving forward, if we want to move forward with this proposal or if it's to table it. I think that's the only question we got about it.
I'd like to make a motion that we'll at least consider other proposals and put out an RFP.
Second.
Call the roll.
Mormon,
No.
Pickup,
No.
Becker, yes. Ray,
No.
Bird,
No.
McGinn,
No.
Stein,
Yes.
So here we are back at square one again.
No. Now, I'll make a motion to move forward with the management option as presented to council and have staff move forward with the final proposal.
Call the roll.
Pickup,
Yes.
Becker, no. Ray,
Yes.
Bird,
Yes.
McGinn,
Yes.
Stein,
No.
Mormon,
Yes.
And everything else on utilities, so we'll be moving now, meeting at 4:30. Yes, sir. Wednesday. It's Wednesday at 4:30.
Okay, next up, economic development, Greg.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Item number one, Central Iowa Housing Trust Fund that I sit on. It's a trust fund that we joined a couple years ago, Boone County, and I was a Boone County appointed rep because of the fact that Boone County was one of 5 counties that were not part of the trust fund. So this is an organization that receives funds through the state and then uses it for housing initiatives in the member communities for applications. 2 things. One, a new round of funding is being released, so we need to make sure we get it out there. The link will be sent out through Bill here tomorrow on Central Iowa Housing applications, so you can apply for them. The second thing is that I am the appointed person for the trust fund for the county, and I was asked by the supervisor general if anyone else would be wanted to replace me from June. It's usually a quarterly meeting, but sometimes there's additional applications because the funds have to be allocated within a certain time. They've been out by Zoom, but they've also been held on. So it is a commitment. But I want to point that out here. If you have an interest, let Bill know so we can let supervisors know, and it has to be an elected official. So that's all on that one. Item number 2, discuss request for proposal for the community wellness center. The city ED meeting, we had a couple meetings this past week to consider the RFPs for the wellness center. The wellness center proposals, there was 4 companies that were expressed interest. 1 did not apply, 3 did. 1 was complete, another one was almost complete, and another one did not include a pool option. The other 2 companies both submitted corrections on that and submitted it. We had a long discussion and back and forth. But in the end, it was a 2-1 vote to move forward with the no vote as the recommended party for the rec center bond vote coming up in March. So I'll pass it off to Bill on the language
For the,
bond.
okay, so there's.
No, just for you to cover in your.
Oh, yeah, that's under my report.
Right.
Yes.
So, the request for proposal is resolution 2950, you see there. Bill, do you want to cover that with a little bit in yours or mine?
On this resolution, it's right under yours.
Okay. So resolution 2950 is authorizing a contract with the Nova Construction Solutions to construct a community wellness center. All this does is set up the initial contract for the graphic design pitch, 3D visualizations and everything that we're going to put out to the community to discuss the wellness bond vote. That is it. Now, moving forward, if it is approved, then they would be the approved contractor moving forward for the project. But if the vote is not approved, then that is all you're in for. So that is all you're approving tonight.
And if I could, sir, if I could just add in the section one of what you are passing is directing city staff to enter into further discussions with de novo, excuse me, so that a proposed contract to accomplish that. And then that contract, once we get to where we think we are, then we'll bring that back for approval to the elected officials.
Most likely January,
Uh,
or December 20th.
yeah, I think Jim and I have talked, the goal is to bring it on the 20th.
The materials, the visualizations and things like that will be available in January for the new council and the community committee. So that material will be available for at least 2 months of the community discussions and information. I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2950.
Oh, no.
Stecker? No. Ray?
Yes.
Bird?
Yes.
McGinn?
Yes.
Stein?
No.
Mormon?
Yes.
Piglet?
Yes. Thank you, everybody. Item number 3, discuss Green Space Arts Commission first Thursday. We had an ED meeting before council tonight. An update of Arts Commission activities and other items and review presentation from Councilmember Stecker. I made a recommendation for ED to suspend the Arts Commission until January, when the budget and hotel motel comes up. There are some members coming off the Arts Commission due to term limits and change in status, and then also too as well, I believe it should be something that be looked at by the new and full complete city council moving forward. We're looking at a 30-day delay, but this suspension will allow that time to happen until January for your normal months. It was approved 2-1 with a recommendation of full council to follow through. So I have to ask for a vote on this option as well from ED, because it was a full council action to authorize the Arts Commission authority, and this will be suspended until January until further notice until budget meetings and council decisions are made in the new budget year.
So, second. Call roll.
Ray?
Yes.
Bird?
Yes.
McGinn?
Yes.
Stein?
No.
Mormon?
Yes.
Piglet?
Yes.
Stecker? No.
Okay, number 5, department reports, building official. Yeah, report your own. Finance officer, Andrea, City Attorney Jim? No report. Director of Public Works, John Rouse.
Yeah, sure, I got a couple things. Last July, we were doing some investigating on some manholes in the coast park. We found 2 that were substantially deteriorated. We got a bid to fix them for $8,750. On to further investigation, found 2 more that needs to be addressed. And this is where our trunk main was in the plan, so if they collapse, it's a big deal. So it's nothing budgeted. We are planning on getting it done. The company's gonna do it for $8,750, the same contract we did before, but we might, if we go over budget, we might have to do budget. But it's something that we have to figure out. So
I would agree with that.
I don't, do we need to vote for that or just a budget amendment later if we need it?
Yeah, just, the budget and we voted on later in this year, we'll bring it, but we just wanted to let you know about it, so you're not surprised when it comes. Usually those are done in May.
Another thing, we're hauling the grindings, there's a mighty pile of grindings, so we're gonna have some backfill for quite some time. Sledding hill is done, we're getting bids to do the seeding, erosion control, that kind of stuff. I will get the bids, take to the park commission and have them decide on what's going to be done there. This again is nothing budgeted, so I will be coming probably on the 20th to tell them what the decision the park commission decides, but way to go to ask for money to do it. I'm going to recommend closing it down, putting erosion control down and putting some seed, whether it be oats, grass, whatever on there, and just keep it closed for this year and then open it up next year. It's, of course, it's a park commission decision. I will recommend that to them, and I will come to you guys on the 20th to tell the city what it's up. But again, nothing budgeted, so I will be asking for money.
Sorry. We did approve it as part of the contract and compromise with them on the.
We were going to maybe try to do it ourselves, but it's such a big project. And it's going to be big. And I'm guessing the airport's going to be in the same situation with erosion control and seeding as well.
We'll need to do a budget then for the demo project anyway. So we will roll it in, we'll see what the numbers are, and try to roll it into that as well, so it's not a separate budget.
And I'm gonna try to get this done as quickly as possible.
Understand we have a credit coming too, so. I can cover it.
Waiting for that.
Any questions?
Your report.
So this is notice of acceptance of the rehab of the silo system there. The water project working on for the past few months. Staff has been completed, so recommendation from SEH that be completed, and I will give her.
Second, call the roll.
Bird,
Yes.
again,
Yes.
Stein,
Yes.
Mormon,
Yes.
Pickla,
Yes.
Sucker, yes, Ray,
Yes.
Okay, next up, public safety, Chief Adams.
Good evening, Your Honor. Just a quick, I left a kind of a data sheet on your table in front of you. Just talks about call volume and just we're a couple 300 ahead of last year. We don't see a trend really changing. And I would just, we talk about the ambulance contract. We're at currently at 101, where our contract calls for 50. So after the first of the year, we'll meet with the hospital and get that fee figured out as it's stated currently in the contract. So I'd entertain any comments, questions. It's more of a FYI data. So
Is this COVID related?
no.
No.
Well, I'm not saying it's not. We're trying to work on a system here is it could be inadvertently COVID related, where people are not wanting to go to assisted living or nursing homes. They want to stay at home because of some of the lockdown procedures that have to happen with nursing homes and those kind of things. And I think that's the related side that we see more than the number of COVID patients being transported. There is definitely an uptick, but I think it's more the other way.
How tracking your callbacks year over year? How, I know it's rather high. Is it continually going up with the same trend, or is it?
Yeah, it seems to be, it's going up more with that same trend because we're having more ambulance calls, and that ties up the duties of the on-duty firefighters. And so that's an automatic backfill in the station because we can't relinquish from those calls, especially if we have to go to Madrid, Ogden, somewhere in the county or whatever, and wherever our transports are going to be. It seems like for some reason we get a lot of transports from the rural area to either Ames or Des Moines, and it's just by luck. Honestly, it's not by any other matrix. Yeah. That's all you have. That's all I have, Your Honor. Thank you.
Chief Legal.
Yes, briefly, Your Honor. Our annual shop account will be December 16th. It's still a little different than the way we've done in the past because of COVID, but we're still on pace to take roughly 100 kids shopping. Again, this is all donation funded and ultimately, so thank you for that.
Sergeant Gray, do you have anything to say?
There's nothing to.
Thank you. Next up, City Administrator Bill.
Thank you, sir. First item here is discuss the bond language for the special election on March. Apologize, I can't get this bigger on the screen, but you have one in front. There we go. You have one in front of you. This is the bond language that staff came up with for the question on March 1st. This has been through legal. So this is for your review and to direct staff if you want to make changes. We believe it covers everything. It has to be a two-part question because of one, to build the center, and two, how we're going to pay for it.
Make a motion to approve. Sorry. We don't have to have anything in there about the tip portion.
No, that's just how
I just want, that's just
we're, yeah, no.
Motion to approve post language on bond.
Call the roll.
again,
Yes.
Stein,
Yes.
Mormon,
Yes.
Pickla,
Yes.
Sucker, no,
Ray,
Yes.
Bird,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is 60% approval or 50%
I
approval?
believe it's 60.
can you maybe read that? for those of-
Yeah, I haven't taken it down yet because I want to make sure everybody had a chance to see it.
Thank you.
So I'll gladly read it. It says, should the city of Boone bond for up to $10 million to build a wellness center at 628 Story Street and pay for it as authorized by Iowa Code Section 364.2, semicolon, and pay for it with an additional 3% on franchise fees of both gas and electric. 3%, yes. We good?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, I just have a couple things. Just a reminder that elected officials and incumbents that won their election will be, the swearing in will be December 30th at noon here in the council chambers. The mayor will swear you all in. The ad that I placed on your desk is that we talked about before, is that livability ad that's going to be in that magazine through AGDC. Hope you all like it. That's what went to press. I did get input from the chair of the ED committee and the income. So I'll take any questions you have. If not, my only other thing is there a planned public meeting for December for the wellness center, or are we talking about that? We're gonna wait till January where we get some conceptual drawings from De Novo.
Yeah, I think we're gonna be meeting with De Novo several times during December, trying to get that on track. Based on the information we gathered from the community meetings, we'll incorporate that into their initial drawings. That, I just want to remind everybody that those are just initial drawings, they are not the final drawings. So that it'll be, we'll take it to the community and tweak that.
And there is gonna be a virtual tour. Is that right, Chris?
Yeah, later down the road. as we
Yeah,
go through
so
the
that won't
process.
be right away in January. It will be in January, right, Kurt?
We'll get done, Jim.
Okay, so we'll get that out for everybody to see, but that first meeting in January is probably just gonna have conceptual drawings, so everybody has an understanding of what's gonna be at that meeting. And we can set the date of that meeting on the 20th if you choose.
We will set the meeting on.
That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Okay, number 6, consent agenda. Are there any items on the consent agenda that you'd like to remove and discuss separately, and if not, any motion to approve? Call the roll.
Stein,
Yes.
Mormon,
Yes.
Nicolette,
Yes.
Becker,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Bird,
Yes.
again,
Yes. Okay, number 7, we have the ordinance this evening. Number 8, I have no comment. Number 9, any council comments this evening?
On 628, JR kind of stole my thunder, but,
Sorry.
not your problem. We're scheduled to be done by the 10th, correct? We anticipate 7th Street, the cleanup and everything done and open by the 15th. That right? That area. So that's a good thing. It looks great up there. They're hauling in black dirt right now. JR and his crew have their work cut out for them, moving those mountains of rock and getting cleaned up. But I think it all in all went pretty well. I don't know how much we saved the city with all that rock. So that was a good thing. And like I said, the sledding hill, that'll be up to the park commission. That's in their jurisdiction. They can decide what they want to do moving forward.
No council comments. Any public comments or items not on the agenda? Not, I need a motion to go into closed session pursuant to Iowa Code Chapter 20 to discuss matters pertaining to the Boone Police Department union contract.